Looks like we're good. One moment.
There we go.
Cool.
Awesome.
Looks like we're good.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday.
Yay.
Everyone is doing fantastic today. Brittany here, one of the admins, along with fellow admin Chris here. We are super excited to bring you this week's featured practitioner. If you guys don't know, we now have a partners program. Hi, Laura. How are you? Thanks for joining us live. We have a partners program in the group because we really wanted to create a space where people are coming in this group to get better holistically, right? And we just have so many amazing practitioners in here, and we wanted a way to be able to share their knowledge and help you guys get healthy. So we have Dr. Mader here, and we are very, very excited. And we are going to talk about some hormones today. Hello, Zoe. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. Thank you so much for being a partner, for just coming and sharing your value, because you, as you've seen since you've been a member of the group, right? So many women have these issues with hormones.
So many. I see comments and questions come up every single day. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we are just so grateful to, have you here, be able to share your knowledge and help these women get healthy.
Well, I definitely, for the viewers, you have to know that Brittany and Chris have, with the Partners Program, just taken wonderful care of all of us providers. I feel like a celebrity, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to such a large group and to be able to really spread the good word and help people in a natural way.
Absolutely. That's important. The natural way, holistic way. So Dr. Mader, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you're a chiropractor. Kind of tell us a little bit about your knowledge and your skill set.
Sure. So I knew when I was young that I wanted to go into chiropractic, and for my undergrad degree, I moved cross country actually to follow a boy. Luckily that worked out. He's my husband now. But I ended up just picking a school just because it was close to where I was moving. I didn't really know much about it. And when I looked at their degree options to see what would be something that would help me move towards that chiropractic degree and go on to doctorate school, something that the college that I was near offered was wellness and alternative medicine. And I was like, yep, that sounds like a good prerequisite to chiropractic. But little did I know what I was getting myself into. The degree probably could have been called food as medicine. I had no idea. I knew nothing about clean eating. I knew nothing about alternative health other than I wanted to be a chiropractor. I had a lot of chiropractic experiences growing up. I was a chiro kid. My mom was an assistant to a chiropractor when I was growing up. And so that undergrad degree really shifted my perspective, but it was honestly just the tip of the iceberg. That's all it was meant to do, was to shift the perspective. And so I continued to grow that passion for nutrition and alternative medicine while I was in chiropractic school, outside of chiropractic school. So taking continuing education courses in clinical nutrition and functional medicine, and so ultimately graduating with my doctorate degree, as well as a lot of training when it came to helping patients with their chronic illnesses in a way that was not being offered in modern medicine. And throughout my clinical years over the past 4.5 years or so since I've graduated, I've really zoomed in on hormone health, and I've done so because of my own journey. So it's kind of a roller coaster. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I had a really bad reaction to birth control while I was in undergrad, and had undiagnosed post-pill PCOS. I didn't get my cycle back for almost 2 years until I saw a functional medicine provider myself that really helped me get things back on track. I've also dealt with complete adrenal fatigue during doctorate school, and I've been to the other side of it as well. I really dove into taking care of myself to the point where it got obsessive. I had high functioning anxiety about the toxins that we're being exposed to constantly and the foods that we're eating, and there was no life left in it. There was no breath left in my regimen, and kind of led me down a path of what I now consider orthorexia. And so, and for those unfamiliar, orthorexia is when you are so particular about the foods that you eat that it's almost scary to eat. So I've since backed off from that as well, and kind of found a middle ground that I'm really passionate about sharing with people. So I teach my clients these alternative principles, but through the lens of food freedom and listening to your body above all else, and really a place of balance and being able to live your life and also take care of yourself in a sustainable way.
That's awesome. I love that. We oftentimes through our own journey, right? Like that's how we end up helping people, right? You had all these hormone issues. Now you help other women with hormone issues. Chris had his issues with food and mood and things like that. Now that's what he helps people with. I had gut health issues. Now I focus on gut health. It's through our own journeys and our own struggles that really, God designs us, he puts us on that purpose,
Absolutely.
to be able to share with others and help them heal as well. So that's super awesome. Chris, did you have any questions for Dr. Reeder?
That was very interesting intro, and it actually, without getting too personal, Brittany, it actually kind of reminded me of you with regard to the birth control and acne and getting everything back in order. Not to put the spotlight back on you, but it's not uncommon for that to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, I feel like almost every female who's ever had an encounter with birth control has a similar story, unfortunately, which is why what Brittany and I do, and Chris, is so important, because not everyone has the resources to dig themselves out of that hole.
And like you were saying too, and I just being one of the admins of the group, and you've seen it too, Zoe, at least maybe once a day, 3-4 times a week, we see that question itself. And I've tagged you on some of them. What do I do? My hormones are out of whack, just to put it lightly, obviously. And there's a lot of variables involved. So I'm not a woman, obviously, but I know that people like you are very important to help them to get back on track.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, so let's go ahead and dive in. I know that you have some amazing value to share with everyone today. We're going to talk about 3 pillars of healing your hormones. Did you have slides or anything, or are you just going to chat?
I don't. I'm just going to chat. This is something that I'm super passionate about, and it's just going to kind of come off the cuff. But these are kind of the 3 foundational things that I really, my clients, I want them to understand before we dive into the nitty gritty of, the functional medicine side of things. And so the first pillar that I really emphasize is that when it comes to hormones and healing, you pretty much have to completely let go, release, and erase what you have been taught about diet and exercise in our society. Because unfortunately, those diet and exercise principles oftentimes will put us in a place of stress. And although it feels good, stress hormones feel good. You may feel like you have a lot of energy when you're restricting calories or when you're showing up in the gym for hours at a time. it only feels good for so long. Those practices are not sustainable, unfortunately. And so, kind of coming back to square zero and finding what works for your body and feels like something you could do forever. If it feels like you're having to push yourself into a mold to get it accomplished, then it's not going to stick. And so, coming back from that like diet culture and the thought process, you know, that's kind of an umbrella, but releasing all of that you have to be a certain weight in order to be healthy. You can implement healthy principles long before you are at a quote goal weight. And in fact, most women's goal weight is going to be something that's unhealthy for them. And also that goes along with that one, releasing what you know about diet and exercise and kind of rebuilding that to listen to your body is the weight stigma. Worrying about what your body looks like and what other people are thinking about you or what you're eating is the stress cascade that goes along with that over and over and over constantly is more taxing on your body than having an extra 5 pounds or eating an extra donut or like accidentally eating gluten or you know what I mean? When you're so restrictive and you put yourself in this like ball of anxiety about doing it right and looking a certain way, the negative health effects of that mindset are worse than the current condition that your body is in. So letting go of that entirely is the first pillar, and kind of working from a clean slate and like truly listening to what it is that your body is telling you that you need. Sorry, go ahead.
That's excellent. I'm sure we've all been there from a certain standpoint. I haven't want to be perfect. It's not.
Yeah. I really love that because I've worked with women, you know, that have fed into this diet culture, right? And they were just told by their doctors, like, well, you just need to eat less and work out more, you know, and it's not working. There is so much more. And when you look at the research, you know, it's much more than just calories in versus calories out. There are hormones, there are so many things that play a role in our bodies. And then we get stuck, especially as women, with these, you know, things that we have to live up to. And, you know, we see the magazines and the models and like how skinny, and we think that we should be skinny, but it's not about being skinny. It's not about that. It's about health. It's about nourishing our body. It's about having everything in balance. So I really love that that's your first pillar, because it's not always, you know, eat less and work out more, because then that messes with your thyroid. That messes with your mind. There's so many implications, and so many women have fallen into that, you know, trap of this diet culture. And it's just really detrimental to, you know, hormonal health. I have a really good friend, and we met a couple months ago, and she was like, I'm so hungry. And I was like, well, what are you eating? And she works out all the time, and her trainer had put her on 1,200 calories a day. Wow. And I was like, no, like, no, you're working out, you have an active job, you cannot be on 1,200 calories a day. And she's wondering why she can't lose weight. And I'm like, you actually need to eat more. And she's like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, but I promise you it does. Like, and when I explained it, she was like, oh, okay. You know, and I'm like, what nutrition training does your personal trainer have?
Right.
Like, you know, like, no, like, this is not a healthy way to do this. And so it's just so amazing that, you know, you come out and you tell them that, because that's so true. I love that.
Well, and unfortunately, it's like this lie that we've been told. So then people go into this like really restrictive diet or super punishing workout program, and they are extra frustrated because not only are their symptoms not getting better or maybe even getting worse, but they also feel like they're doing all the right things. Like, what else could I be doing? And actually, it probably is that you need to do less and eat more. In a very gentle way. Like, obviously, if I have my patients up their calories or their nutrients, I'm going to be doing it in a slow and steady way that supports their body. You don't just like start eating extra 1,000 calories a day. But so there's like there's sides to it, but I'm really passionate about, just like let go of what you've known in the past and let's start clean, because if you try to mix in that diet culture with these principles, then it's not going to go well. So the second pillar that I am really passionate about is getting super clear on what it is that you actually want to feel in your body. So when it comes to hormonal healing or weight loss or feeling like you are struggling in your body, if those problems were gone tomorrow, then what would you feel? Or if you're just sitting around dreaming about being in a body that feels better, that operates better, that looks better, then what is it that you're actually desiring? Are you wanting to feel strong? Are you wanting to feel sexy? Do you want to be glowing? Do you want to feel light? Do you want to feel, desired? What are the feelings that you are actually after behind that goal? And then my follow-up question to that is, what can you do? What activities or opportunities are available to you right now to be able to incorporate more of that feeling into your life right now? Because unfortunately, especially when it comes to hormones and our cycles and feeling like, we've got acne all over our face, or we can't lose weight, or we're super anxious, we put all of these things on hold. Like, if my body's not working well, or I don't look a certain way, then I'm not worthy of these opportunities or these feelings. And that pattern right there is not conducive for healing. You have to understand your worth, and that you are worth making these changes for, and that you can start by allowing yourself to feel good right now. And when you do that, then you start to decrease the amount of stress that you feel in your body automatically. You are going to put a stop to that vicious stress cascade that's causing hormonal issues if you can insert increments of joy throughout your day. And you're allowed to do that right now. Nobody said that you can't do that until you get these things under control.
That's awesome. So happiness is not dependent on waist size, essentially.
Waist size, or your cycle
Right.
working well, or whatever it is. Even if you're miserable in your hormones, and even if you're having these mood swings or acne or cramps or whatever it is, you can choose to know that you are worth having and doing the things that you want to do. You don't have to wait until those things are fixed. And in fact, prioritizing that is going to help then stop the cascade that's creating those symptoms.
Totally. That's awesome.
And then the third pillar is true self-care, not Instagram worthy self-care. So I don't necessarily mean like going to get a mani or pedi. This is where I get to the like nitty gritty of the like nutrition guidelines and mineral replenishing and balancing those cycle hormones. And when I say true self-care, I mean, most people know what is good for them and they choose not to do it. So self-care to me, and the definition that I use in this pillar, is turning off Netflix and going to bed because you know that you're going to have a better day tomorrow if you respect that non-negotiable 8-hour sleep window. Or self-care means, even if you don't feel like it, going for a walk in the morning to help with your mental health. And those sorts of tenets. And so if you can let go of the diet culture and you can start adding more joy into your life, and then you can start creating boundaries for yourself and being having integrity with what you know is good for you, that's true self-care. And those three things alone, I feel like people could start feeling better in their bodies, start healing those hormones, and really start enjoying their lives without even truly getting into the nutrient and nutrition principles, or doing an HTMA or doing a Dutch test for their hormones. And so those three things are what I really emphasize with my clients before we even really get to what eating to support your hormones looks like, or what it takes to replenish those mineral stores and that sort of thing.
That's awesome. I just want to go through some of these comments because I don't know if you're able to look, but we got a lot of interaction going on here.
Gosh.
And so Laura's watching. She said hi. Olga said thank you so much for having these talks. Laura also said like that sounds awesome. That was when you were first talking about like how we should feel in our bodies. Birth control pills are horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. And my daughter turned 15 today, and her friends, are on birth control. She's like, you should put, I'm like, nope, absolutely not. That was the start of all my health issues. That was literally the start of all my health issues. Laura said that she struggles with mindset. So she said, thank you for what you said about that.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of us, do, especially, I mean, women and men both feel it, but, definitely as women, I think when it comes to that weight loss, when it comes to the diet stuff, when, we really can struggle a lot with that, wanting to look a certain way. Rosa says, I want to feel all of that. That was when you were talking about your body and stuff. Megan says, awesome. I love your vibe. Great advice. Laura said, you're inspirational.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Tobias says, great info. Megan said, you're such a great speaker and beautiful. Thanks for the positive, uplifting message. Laura agreed with you 100%.
You guys are gonna make me cry.
Danielle's here. Hi, Danielle. Danielle's here. Dr. Eden. Bonnie says, I agree, Mom. Yeah, she agrees with me on the no birth control. So I just wanted to go through those and kind of let you know, like we got a lot of engagement here. If you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. She's here right now. So if you guys have any questions about hormones or your anything, feel free to pop those in the chat and she can answer some of those live.
I didn't have it pulled up, but I definitely can too, so that I can kind of keep track. I should have done that before.
Oh, you're good. You're good. It gets kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, we got a lot here. But so tell us, I know that you have some upcoming things. So for the women on this call, they're struggling with their hormones. They want to feel the way, that you said that we should feel. They need to balance their hormones. How can they work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best place to soak in more of this type of content, this is the sort of conversations we're having all the time, is in my Facebook group. It's called Fiercely Feminine Hormone Healing and Body Confidence, and I'm happy to leave a link maybe somewhere.
Yeah, let's put that in the comments for sure.
Okay, for sure, I will do that. So join the Facebook group. I have a pretty rapidly growing group that is pretty engaged, and we talk about these sorts of concepts every day. And then I do have a new kind of opportunity that actually I just launched and announced this week that I'm super excited about. And so the best way to work with me right now is actually in this new program. It's called Taking Care of You. And it's a 12-month group coaching program. And so it's over 20 plus video lessons on body confidence, hormone healing, overcoming anxiety. The list goes on, period repair, and so that portion of it is pre-recorded and something that you'll have access to for obviously the full 12 months. But then the program also includes a private Facebook community with other women who are going through the program. And then also, in addition to that, 12 one-on-one support sessions with me during that time too. And so I actually am Right now, I'm looking for my 10 founding members. Quite a few of those spots are already taken. I haven't updated the number, but I think there's only a couple of spots left, which is actually a reduced price. The enrollment will be going up here really soon once those first 10 spots are taken. But it's specifically designed for millennial women who really want to feel better in their body in all aspects, both from like a mental, emotional aspect, but then also from a physical and hormonal aspect, so that they can be the best version of themselves. I constantly talk to women who are my age, our age, and over and over again, I hear, I just want to be a better mom, wife, coworker, sister, whatever it is. And then I feel like then I hear coupled with that their body is what is stopping them from being able to do that. Whether that is how they feel about their body and their weight, or whether it is their cycle and their cramps and their mood swings, or whether it's their mental health, their anxiety. There's always something that's stopping them from being the best version of themselves. And this program, I'm excited to say, covers all of that. And it's designed to be taken in a really, step by step, little bits at a time. And it's set up so that you have an intense amount of accountability to make sure that you really get that transformation you're looking for.
That's awesome. I think that would benefit so many women. We're with everything with our diets, with hormone disruptors and endocrine disruptors and all of these toxins and chemicals and plastics and different things that we're exposed to. I mean, really can wreak havoc. And then, then there's gut health, right? Like that,
Yes.
Messes with everything. And we really are designed to feel healthy and good. And I think so many of us just like kind of accept like this low grade chronic, like crap all the time. And like, that's not how we're supposed to feel. We're supposed to have energy. We're supposed to feel good in our bodies. We're supposed to just be able to do normal things, play with our kids, have the energy to go for a walk, to go to the park, to, work out, to do all these things. And it's just really starts with, taking care of yourself, and that accountability part is so important because it can be hard, as a mom, you're working, you're a wife, you're a mom, all of this and that. And where are you going to find the time? But when you have that accountability and that support, that, that narrows it down, you're like, all right, it's time to take care of me. And when you do take care of you, you show up better in every area of your life. Like you can't pour from an empty cup. Like you have
Exactly.
It is time to take care of me and my health so that I can be a better mom, so that I can be a better wife, so that I can be a better employee. But it starts with feeling that, like you talked about at the beginning, that worthiness, like you are worthy of this. You are worthy of feeling amazing in your body. Like we all deserve this. And so if you're struggling with this, if this is something that you just feel like, oh my gosh, my hormones are so out of whack, birth control messed me up, like book a call with her, like learn more about this program, because this is something that could literally change your life in 12 months, and then you have the rest of your life to live this wonderful, happy, healthy life,
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I need you to come, like, are you up for hire for marketing? Because you made me want to buy that program, and I'm the one reading it.
Okay, we do have a couple questions here.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
can. Okay, so I know that you typically work with millennial women, but we do have a question from Bonnie.
Sure.
Bonnie, do you have a little more specific? Like she says, I'm 67 years of age. How can you help me? So are you like postmenopausal, Bonnie? If you could like clarify that a little bit, and maybe she can answer that better. We have one from Rosa. Any ideas about hormonal issues during menopause? I am newly menopausal.
Okay, yeah. So, a lot of the principles that I teach for millennial women, are going to be the same for that postmenopausal age. It's a little bit different when we're talking about balancing very specific hormones, but kind of just my overall, if we go to that third pillar, that true self-care, some of the generalized, kind of advice that I would give is make sure that you are eating enough. Never ever do I encourage restrictive diets, just like Brittany mentioned. 1,200 calories is how much a toddler needs in order to operate during the day. And so if you're confused about how much that is, then obviously you're welcome to reach out to me and we can help try to figure out what that is for you. But on average, a female, a grown adult is going to need anywhere between like 2,000 and 2,400 calories a day. And making sure that you are including carbohydrates. I know that's kind of counter what a lot of health providers will tell you, but when it comes to hormone production, we have to have carbohydrates. And there's a way to take in carbohydrates that are going to make it so that you're not also then spiking your blood sugar. And so when we eat a carbohydrate, something that offers our body the glucose that's necessary for cellular metabolism, which is the process that kind of is behind all hormone production. We have to have that glucose, but we don't want to spike our insulin and our blood sugar when we do that. And so, well, obviously insulin responds appropriately, but the way that we do that is by taking that glucose in with an animal protein. So it's actually a quality protein and a saturated or healthy fat. But if you can focus on animal protein, then you know that protein automatically includes the saturated fat. So so an example would be like a simple sugar with an animal protein would be like an orange and a beef stick would be a good snack, something along those lines. Making sure that you are hitting all three of those macro categories at every single meal and snack, and that you're taking in enough nutrients is the number one place to start. Go slowly. If you're eating 1,200 calories right now, please don't start eating 2,000 calories tomorrow. Yeah, go slowly, listen to your body. But if I could give my like top tier advice to all women is to make sure that they're fueling their body to help replenish the resources and the pool that we take from in order to build our hormones. You have to have the fuel to make the hormones, to have the hormones work well.
Awesome.
We got one here. Jennifer says, I went off birth control 3 years ago and no menses since. Hot flashes began a few weeks after and hormone levels are hardly there on lab work. Have been to a naturopath and holistic doctor, have been trying supplements, minerals, etc., and eat plant-based. Providers just keep telling me I'm in menopause.
And that's from Jennifer, and she said that she had just started menopause, or is this a new question?
This is a new question. Yeah.
Okay.
So she went off birth control 3 years ago and hasn't had a period since.
Do we know how old how old are you, Jennifer?
Jennifer, if you can answer that. And then we'll go back to Bonnie. So she had asked the question earlier. She's 67. How can you help? She says she believes she's postmenopausal. So Bonnie, I think kind of what she just answered there will help you as well. What she answered for Rosa will help you as well. So one thing I will say, Jennifer, is if you notice, you said you are plant-based. She did mention, animal protein. So Jennifer's 42.
42. Okay. So yeah, a cycle would still be appropriate for you at this point. And obviously I can't diagnose and I don't have a history at all, but what you're describing sounds a lot to me like post-pill PCOS. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and there's 3 criteria to PCOS, and the first, I guess I'll go through them. The first criteria is that you don't, you have less than 10 periods a year, which obviously is you. And the second one is signs or symptoms of high androgens. You can also test for androgens on lab work, and some of the symptoms you described would maybe fall under that category. And then the third criteria is that you have ultrasound evidence of more than, I think it's 12 cysts on your ovaries, but you only have to have 2 of the 3. Yeah. And so just even from what you described to me, I think that you probably meet the criteria for that. And there is so much that can be done for that. And it's a crime, honestly, that people are not getting diagnosed with this soon enough. So obviously I'm not diagnosing you. This is not medical advice, but just from what you told me, that's like a whole new path that has opened up for you to be able to explore. I'd be happy to help you walk through more details of that or chat about working together. But I definitely think that you have been failed, because that shouldn't be super complicated to help get you into a good place with. And it sounds like you kind of fallen through the cracks with the providers that you have worked with in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're definitely, Dr. Zoe's going to be linked on this as soon as this is over. I'm going to tag her. So is it okay if they reach out to you
Absolutely.
on Messenger or something like that? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. And I will also make sure to link her Facebook group and her website as well. And I'm pretty sure you can book a call on your website too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And I spend almost all of my social media time in either this group or my own Facebook group.
Cool.
I hang out on Facebook constantly, so just message me and I will get back to you pretty quickly.
Cool. Just want to say one quick thing too regarding self-care and the importance of it. It's really the simple things and supporting our body, supporting well-being, and self-care itself is not just going to affect and improve our physical health. It's going to improve our mental health, our emotional health, our ability to be a good partner, be in a good relationship, and like you said, to perform on the job. It's going to affect you. And if you're not feeling good physically, you're not going to perform on the job. You're going to be down, out. Your energy might be off, and you might be like quick with your boss or partner, or even just out and about with friends and family. You're not going to be up to having fun, going to meet people and so forth. So it's not just numbers you're going a weight or blood markers and so forth. It's really going to impact all aspects of your life.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Absolutely. Jennifer says, thank you. That does definitely open up a new avenue for sure. I'll be reaching out soon.
Awesome.
Jennifer, let's get you the help that you need with a qualified, professional that can help you, because you shouldn't have to deal with this. And, so many people, even naturopaths and even holistic doctors, they can fail sometimes, right? And so if you have a specific issue, you want to find, and that's why we started this partners program, and we want partners that can fit specific needs, right? Like hormonal health is so important. Gut health is so important. Different lab testing is so important. Physical health, like mobility and stuff. Like we had Samantha last week, talking about that. So, that's really why we wanted to have this partners program, so that we can bring you guys the help that you need, because there are so many, even naturopaths and stuff like that out there that just aren't doing what they should be doing and trying to get to the root cause of things, and really, just helping and listening and understanding their patients' needs, and they're just writing them off. So just because someone has an ND after their name doesn't make them, the end all be all. Really look for someone who, for one, is willing to listen to you, is resonates with you, has that experience in that particular area, that you're needing help with. And so if you have hormonal health issues, you want to speak to someone like Dr. Mader. They're really going to dive deep. Listen, I've enjoyed this so much. Like, thank you so much for the knowledge and just sharing, and everything that you have talked about today, I think is so important for so many women in this group. And I can tell just by listening to you, like you're a practitioner that is going to listen to your patients, that is going to, get to the root of their issues. You're not just going to have a one size fits all for everybody, and, just so busy that you can't, deal with them. And I felt bad a couple of weeks ago. I recommended someone to a Lyme specialist, And this is kind of like a big Lyme specialist, right? They're big names. And they kind of left her on the wayside. And I was like, that's really unfortunate. You know, now they kind of have, you know, like they have a little bit of fame and they're, you know, not focusing on patient care anymore. And I think that
Right.
can happen, you know, even with natural doctors. So, you know, really try to get to someone. I think your program, 12 months of support, that's amazing because it doesn't take, we live in this quick fix
Yeah.
society, right? And like everybody like wants to change like overnight and it just doesn't, it
That's
doesn't like that, you know?
it's part of that first pillar, kind of letting go of that idea that, you know, like 6 weeks and it's all over. Like, you know what I mean? You have to, the long haul is what's going to be necessary if you want lasting change. And I always tell people, you know, like, especially when it comes to weight loss and how you feel about your body, you know, what you're doing may be helpful now, but if you again are like pushing yourself to complete the tasks that are getting you there, then it's not sustainable, which means eventually you will have to do it again. So if you can stop and pause and let go of that and commit to taking care of yourself for the long haul, then the most like liberating and freeing feeling is that you never have to do it again. You never have to go through that healing journey again if you take the time to do it right.
Yep, exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. I love
Like
that.
like you were saying earlier, Brittany, no one's alone. Brittany's been through her own journey. Zoe's been through her own journey. I have in my own ways from mental, emotional standpoints, the foods that have impacted my well-being and all. So it's nice. Even though you might feel you're alone, like no one understands me. Many people have. Brittany has, Zoe has. So it's a really good feeling. Their therapy with that.
Yeah, there's answers out there for you. There's help out there for you, no matter what you're struggling, you know, with. Find a good practitioner. And that's, you know, that's the point of our partners program is, you know, we're looking for people who can help the people that are coming in here that need it. Because there's a lot of people that have been failed by traditional medicine and even, like I said, by natural doctors.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're just really so blessed that you are part of our partners program. And thank you so much for bringing so much value into the group. And we just really look forward to, you know, watching your business and watching you help other people and help the women in this group that are struggling with this issue. So thank you very much for taking the time today to come and speak with the group.
Absolutely. You're so kind. And I just like from the bottom of my heart, am so grateful for this opportunity to be on such a big platform and to be able to speak about these things to the number of people in this group who are looking for help, because that's part of the problem when it comes to natural medicine and finding the right provider is that it's easy to get lost in the sea. And so I just, I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So much. Laura says, thank you. Thank you for watching, Laura.
Absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right, everyone. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Take care. I will be linking her website so you can book a call with her. You feel free to reach out to her, send her a DM. You can just search her name, Zoe Mader, in the group. I will also put her website and Facebook group and everything in the links below. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week. I hope you enjoyed all of that wonderful value about healing your hormones.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.